Senior BJP leader Smriti Irani, in fact, is now joining us. Thanks very much, ma'am, for being with us. It was quite a powerful speech there by the Prime Minister. And I think, in essence, the idea of Bharat, and I think you understand this very well, that was really at the center of the Prime Minister's speech there. He spoke about a progressive Bharat, a free Bharat, and a prosperous Bharat. So I think this is an extremely nuanced idea that finds resonance even abroad and among the Indian diaspora particularly.
One has to recognize that the Indian diaspora, when you look at it in the United States, makes up for 3% of their population and 6% of the US GDP, which means that we have as a community a significant impact in not only the economy of the US, but also the politics of the US. I think particularly I'm delighted that when the Prime Minister spoke about the governance agenda vis-a-vis women, that found a lot of applause and support from the audience. You must be mindful of the fact that currently elections which are underway in the US, women's issues have found centrality in those elections as well. The fact that India under Prime Minister Modi can speak volumes about what we have delivered for women in our country is one, I think, indication or manifestation of what the Prime Minister calls a progressive nation like India. I also believe that in a world where geopolitical tensions are headlining almost every newspaper every day or news agency every day, when India speaks about cooperation, and not only cooperation that is strategic in nature, but cooperation that becomes very central to geopolitical activity. I think that is one of the greatest contributions of India internationally. That is my belief.
Absolutely. And, another interesting aspect that the Prime Minister touched upon in his address was how democracy is alive and kicking in both India and the US, and how democracy, in fact, is being celebrated in India amid raging global conflicts. I think that was a strong point as well that the Prime Minister made there.
I believe that the third time for a non-Congress party to come to power is truly historic from an Indian democracy perspective. But more so when he speaks from the US and addresses the Indian diaspora, he not only celebrates their contribution, their struggles, their aspirations, but also speaks to the Indian diaspora the world over. You need to, I think, re-recognize that this was one of the first Indian politicians who used digital strength of our democracy to reach out to Indian audiences across the world to say that, irrespective of which geography you belong to currently, your heart is in India, you're genetically bound to this country, you're culturally bound, your ancestry is here, so that we as a global community can partake in everything and that the Prime Minister calls a Viksit Bharat, or our journey towards being a Viksit Bharat. I also believe when you speak about global conflicts, the meetings that the Prime Minister has undertaken also highlight the strength that India brings. I particularly remember his statement when people asked him that, which side are you on in terms of a particular global conflict? And he said India never sat on the sidelines. We always took the side of
Right.
peace. And I think that underlines his leadership globally with regards to not only what India can bring to the table. Mind you, everybody looked at the Indo-US relationship only from perspectives of either defense services, technology or equipment, or from a nuclear perspective. Prime Minister Modi has widened that ambit. He has brought in healthcare. He has brought in energy, which is renewable. He's brought in climate goals to the mix. He's brought in, I think, a very caring, economical way of looking at the relationship.
Right.
Those are, I think, facets which are extremely unique to his participation with, I think, his counterparts in the US. I remember the last time when he visited, the lab grown diamond he had gifted the First Lady
Yes.
became the buzz across the world. In fact, gave the industry a fillip right here in India and created quite a conversation across the world. So every
Absolutely.
time he visits, he creates a new pathway for Indian industry to grow. I think his commitment to not only the cause of finding a treatment which can be frugally found, innovatively found with regards to cancer is, I think, a great conversation starter. I also believe that the innovative handshake between the US on technologies and developing areas in artificial intelligence, in mineral security, these are facets that have not been debated at large. But I think that it is a great way of re-looking at the relationship between the two countries.
Absolutely, and you spoke of defense. I mean, from buying US defense equipment to co-producing, equipment with the US, I think we've come a long way. But you spoke of Vikas, and the Prime Minister said that Vikas or development has now, in a sense, become a people's movement in India. I mean, if you look at the Vikas of the Indian American community in that sense, I mean, it's been incredible, absolutely. I mean, we see Indian Americans and members of the Indian diaspora in leadership positions in the corporate world, big businesses, big corporations headed by Indian Americans, and also as a vibrant political force now. I mean, you of course have a person of an Indian origin now running for president. So of course that has truly been remarkable. The collective success of the Indian American community.
I don't think it'll be appropriate for anybody from the Indian polity to, I think, speak about either of the candidates right now. But irrespective of who's in the White House post-election, one needs to also factor in the fact that nobody now in US politics or the US governance structure can ignore India's growing popularity. And I think Prime Minister is very pertinent when he says we are not looking to be the aggressive persona on the global table. We are hoping to create a fulcrum of cooperation with regards to the global community. I also believe that when you talk about the leaders in the US economy, especially the digital world in the US, that is something that all Indians celebrate. And particularly the Prime Minister, time and again, has made efforts to meet with them when he visits the United States. But I also think that what he particularly said today about India no longer just being a meek follower, but in fact leading on many issues is of great interest. The fact that COVID and how India handled COVID, in fact, told the world that there are 4 or 5 things that India can do. One, it'll never hold global supply chains hostage. Two, when it comes to development of, let's say, vaccines, we not only do it for ourselves, our citizens, but also do it for the global good.
Right.
We do it in a short time span. We do it frugally, but we do it effectively. I think the third aspect is he spoke about the digital infrastructure that has been created in the country, which I think is something that is very eagerly discussed in the US. Do remember that healthcare in the US is not only an issue on which there have been many political deliberations and debates, but it is for the US in terms of systems an issue of great financial burdens to many citizens. The fact that India can deliver, let's say, a very ambitious program like Ayushman Bharat and make it affordable for its larger populace also finds many mentions in many conversations across the US.
Absolutely.
I think particularly that India in the past 10 years could get 250 million poor Indians out of multidimensional poverty. Again, not an issue which is discussed at large either globally or domestically. I think it was nice of the Prime Minister to kind of bring that up in his conversation. The fact that we build infrastructure, physical and digital, the fact that we manufactured vaccine, deployed it to a 1.4 billion populace, serviced the needs pharmacologically of 160 countries, and at the same time, we managed to get 250 million people out of poverty.
Absolutely. And Ms. Irani, are you also of the opinion that the India-US relationship has perhaps transcended that level where minor challenges become insurmountable? Because we have seen that irrespective of who's at the helm, the Prime Minister has maintained good relations with the US, whether it's Mr. Trump. Of course, Donald Trump called the Prime Minister a fantastic man, and he also expressed his eagerness to meet the Prime Minister. But, my question to you is, there are challenges that remain, of course. Of course, the Pannun issue has been widely discussed as well. But do you think that we are now at a level where we can iron out these differences across the table?
I think it's different when you speak to another country as an equal. vis-a-vis speaking to a country in a tone which may not be that of people who partner together. And I think India has come to such a pass in its history, democratically, globally, that now there are people who have a conversation with you as equals. I do not disagree with you when you say that challenges may come and go. No challenges at all in bilateral relationships would be a utopian state, a near impossibility. But I also believe that when you look at the Prime Minister's outreach, you need to recognize this is not just a human being reaching out. This is an institutional outreach. He has changed how the institution functions globally, how the institution functions vis-a-vis, let's say, the Indo-US relationship. If you notice the statements that came out of the Quad, there have been some very interesting outcomes, including the Coast Guard coming together of all these countries to make a very secure Indo-Pacific possible. The fact that India can now come to the table as an equal partner, the fact that India's time and again issues related to how the Security Council is composed, and that finds a mention in the conversation that has been released to the media. I think those are the interesting facets that show you how the Prime Minister as an institution is now responding to India's aspirations and global needs.
Absolutely. And my last question to you, Ms. Irani, interesting there that the Prime Minister also talked about how India has reposed faith in him for the third time. And in fact, there were these Modi Sarkar chants as well, briefly. Would you say that despite the pulls and pressures perhaps of a coalition government, that has not deterred him from being the global statesman that he is?
I think the man who can create an atmosphere of cooperation, who can have a conversation, let's say, in a global conflict zone between Ukraine and Russia, and converse with both, is a man who can handle domestic coalition with finesse. So I don't think that the coalition is a burden. In fact, Prime Minister Modi, knowing him for the past 2 decades that I have, will convert, no matter what, an opportunity to do better for the country.
All right, Smriti Irani, thanks very much for being with us. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us.